Hey there, it's another beautiful day. Let's watch some stuff.
Weather modification could also be used as an instrument of warfare by manipulating the electric jet and the jet streams that dictate climate.
The publicly stated aim is C3, Command, Communication, and Control. The margin of victory in war is to block or intercept enemy communications and to secure your own. The signals in the ELF extremely low frequency range can be generated by HARP and heard anywhere in the world, and are used for earth-penetrating tomography, basically finding enemy submarines and underground bases. The main idea behind HARP is the ability to direct electrons along the naturally occurring magnetic field lines of the Earth and accelerate them to near the speed of light to form a protective shell of highly excited particles that not only block communications worldwide, but destroy missiles in their trajectory as they descend from space. The effects can be localized by punching a hole through the ionosphere to superheat an area 30 kilometers in diameter into a plasma shield. Any missile or aircraft would be destroyed that tried to fly through the plasma, which is the fourth state of matter. A hole in the ionosphere above an enemy country could kill by allowing solar radiation to strike the surface unhindered.
Okay, 100% truthful. I don't know the validity of those statements. Some of them seemed a little bit far-fetched. And some of those cloud formations I've seen before, and I've seen them with explanation, and I've seen them form. So I'm not 100% certain that that's actually what's going on. I do know that we did use weather manipulation during Vietnam. So there's that. So it can be used for war.
Saw a quote today that said that anyone who lives outside of the system is a threat to the system, and it's really eye-opening when you think about it. You know, and I saw someone say that quote when they read this garbage article that you read right here, talking about how backyard chickens are a threat to industrialized farming because of bird flu. Government's fear is not about this chicken spreading bird flu. What it is scared of is the idea of everyone owning chickens affecting their FDA subsidized factory farms and their profit and loss sheets. You might be thinking, Brian, are you really going to make that big of a stink over a couple of backyard chicken eggs? And the answer is absolutely, because the more self-sufficiency that you seek, the more control they're going to try to take. And so yes, this chicken egg right here is very important because homesteading and self-sufficiency have become widely popular over the last couple of years, and it's going to continue to gain popularity, which means it's going to continue to gain dissent from the government because self-sufficiency goes against the government's idea of dependency that they want you to have. The fact of the matter is, somebody that can take care of themselves, supply food for themselves and their family and their community is an asset to me, but a threat to the government.
I saw this and it immediately reminded me of a comment that I had gotten over on my Rumble page from our new friend, Paradigm Shift Now is their screen name. And they said that they were in Canada trying to buy some chicken feed, but they wanted the address, of Paradigm. And I'm just thinking, why the heck would they want that information? And they said it's because in case the chicken feed was contaminated or something like that, right? And it just made things a little fishy. And then I realized, well, that's probably what it is because of all these government subsidies. Canada's got to be having the same issue going on up there, right? Government subsidies are going to these chicken farmers. And if people are sustaining themselves in their own backyards, that's a problem, right? These are the chickens we want to take out so we can get them back and buying from our stock. Hey, thanks so much for stopping by today. If there's a topic you'd like me to cover, please let me know in the comments and I'll do my best to get it in an upcoming video. If you're having a good time, won't you hit that like button for me and consider subscribing? Then come back tomorrow because I'm making a new episode every day.
Bird flu has now been found in over 160 herds in the US, which suggests that over 1,000 cows are likely infected. You may be curious, why are we talking about dairy cows when this is a bird flu? Bird flu started in industrial poultry operations and then spread to wild bird populations, which then spread to the general wildlife population, and then spread back to livestock to dairy cows. So let's rewind for a second. Why did bird flu spread in the first place? We use this thing called CAFOs, or concentrated animal feedlot operations. And in CAFOs, if one animal gets sick, lots of animals will be getting sick. I'm not surprised because our current industrial livestock operations look like this. So when an illness is brought into a big poultry barn, it's game over. These conditions are so cruel, so unsanitary. Don't get me wrong, no matter how beautiful and idyllic and open your farm operation is, there's always going to be the risk of disease and illness being spread.
Honestly, I was expecting a little bit more of a magnanimous scientific explanation out of that clip because it sounded like that's what was going to happen. And I mean, it's a pretty basic scenario, you know. Birds are kept in these tight quarters and they get sick. And then they all get sick. And then it gets spread because there's so much of them that are sick. There's so much area that is covered in the sick. Something else is going to pick it up. And eventually it's going to travel to them. So that's how it kind of does this vicious cycle. It's like school. Your kids are fine while they're home during summer, and the second they go back to school, they're picking up everybody else's sick and bringing it home. And then it transfers to you. And then it transfers to the people that you work with. Then it goes to their family, and then it goes to their family's school, and it's a vicious cycle. Kind of the same thing.
A quick update on the mpox situation in the country. Out of 31 suspected cases, 29 have tested negative. One that was confirmed, that of a 42-year-old man from Kino, has since recovered. Now, Kenya is set to start vaccination. It is among 5 African countries that are going to receive 50,000 doses of the mpox vaccine. Now, the world needs 10 million doses, but only 200,000 have been produced. Now, the CS for Health, Dr. Mulongo Barasa, who made these revelations, also says that 300,000 individuals have been screened at the country's borders.
A lot of people were expecting the bird flu to be the one that took off this year. I'm not finding as much information about the bird flu as I am monkeypox. And monkeypox information on TikTok is still pretty scarce, which is interesting. You'd think there'd be a little bit more information out there, but it's not as important as Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce nonsense stuff.
Putin just made a huge announcement if you're one of those people that want to move to Russia. He's allowing people who want to escape what you call wokeism or whatever you want to call it, and move to a country with traditional moral values. Now, here's some of the details. First of all, you can bypass the quota. There's no quota system, so there's no waiting. There's no Russian language test. This is huge because most times when you want to move to Russia, you have to pass a Russian language test. You don't need to. So the way it works is you'll be issued a 3-month visa, and then you'll be issued a TRP, which is a temporary residence permit. This allows you to work in Russia and pretty much live here as a permanent resident. And it has a path towards citizenship after a number of years as well. This is the normal path to citizenship by living here. Now, it's been signed into law, but it's not available yet. He's given the ministry of, the ministry that handles this, I forget the name of it right now, 1 month to implement the regulations to get this done. One of them is to list which countries are on the list of people to come from. But I imagine that the US and Canada are going to be on this list among others.
Is it just me? Or is anybody else getting Russian recruitment vibes going on?
The monkeypox is already here in the United States. They found it 3 days ago in San Francisco's wastewater, and the spread of monkeypox is now being categorized as a global health emergency. For those of you who didn't know, monkeypox is a virus that is spread through close skin-to-skin contact, which means we ain't shaking hands no more. Keep your hands to yourself. Here are some of the symptoms associated with monkeypox. So it starts out with a fever, very low energy, swollen lymph nodes, as well as body aches. Also, within 3 days, a rash and sores develop throughout several parts of the body. The rashes can look like pimples or blisters that are painful and itchy to the touch. And although you didn't ask, I'm going to tell you how they test. Okay, they put a swab up your behind. A swab up your Also, according to the World Health Organization, alcohol-based hand sanitizers and alcohol-based cleaning products can effectively inactivate the monkeypox virus. So when you go to the grocery store, carry your little Clorox wipes. Disinfect that shit. When you go to the gas station, disinfect. Carry your hand sanitizer, carry your Clorox wipes. Please, y'all, stay safe, limit contact, and clean your hands often.
That sounds awfully familiar. Remember when we were doing that about 4.5 years ago, losing our marbles about wash your hands and hand sanitizer and sanitize everything and the Clorox wipes everywhere. And is anybody panic buying yet? Has any of that happened? Has anybody in San Francisco heard any news? Is there toilet paper shortages? Hand sanitizer shortages. Should I start hoarding it so I can sell it for 3 times as much? What's going on?
This is a truly massive amount of territory Ukraine has claimed from Russia, according to the latest numbers from Deep State. This is the size of the territory that Russia currently occupies in Ukraine. Now let's compare the two of them. Does that put it in perspective at all? It's not nothing, but it's not the massive amount that the media is portraying it to be. You're being lied to and manipulated, and you don't even know it, and you won't admit it.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely being lied to constantly all the time about this stupid Ukraine crap. And it's so that we're like, oh yeah, they're gaining some momentum. Something's happening out there. Give them more money, more support. But more and more every single day, more and more people are like, stop. Can we stop sending our money away now? Because we're sending it everywhere. We're using our money everywhere except for our own people. We're even using money in our own country for people who are not our own people. And it just keeps getting worse and worse. It's ridiculous.
I think the first step in becoming a good conspiracy theorist is understanding that both Big Pharma and the food system are scamming you, and they're holding hands while they do it. And the reason that I say that they're holding hands while they do it is because the government has a high level of control of both of those areas through the FDA. And the FDA has done a great job over the last couple of decades of greenlighting ingredients in your food that are known carcinogens and are actually banned in most of the modern world. But don't worry, because when you get sick by ingesting all of those ingredients, the FDA's got good news. They also control the medicine that's going to make you feel better. And for all of those who think, oh, you're just a conspiracy theorist for thinking that, they've got pure intentions. Well, I'm sorry that I don't think an industry that has over $1 trillion of annual revenue would have the purest of intentions. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to one of the richest systems in the world, you are much more profitable if you're sick. What I'm trying to say is do not count on the medical system to actually make you healthy rather than just mask your symptoms. Sometimes you have to take matters into your own hands. At the end of the day, diet, exercise, and lifestyle changes is going to be what actually makes you healthy. Now, am I saying that while I have a blueberry syrup stain on my shirt from Cracker Barrel? Yes, I am, because moderation is important. So my plan is to raise as much of my own food as humanly possible, to bake my own sourdough, to raise my own chickens, to have a garden started this fall, and to try to break away from the system as much as humanly possible to actually get healthy and not be a part of a system that actually wants you to be sick.
I don't think there's much I need to say there. He pretty much hit that nail right on the head. This guy is one of my new favorites.
You think NASA landed a rover on Mars 199 million miles away? You sure about that? You're sure they didn't just send a crew to Devon Island, Canada, and take some photos and do some editing? Some editing to give it that red planet tint? Some editing that others before me have matched up identically with Devon Island and photos they claim to be Mars? Photos so identical that they just have to be identical. And then what they do is they release photos like this to make you think, oh my goodness, there could be aliens or other life on Mars. And that takes the attention away from the fact that the photos aren't really of Mars. And then they got you because now you think they're covering up aliens instead of covering up the fact that Mars isn't a planet. Because if you look at what they claim to be a planet with your own eyes through an actual telescope or a P1000 camera, you see something much different.
What?
Is the government hiding this from us? Because if I zoom in into this isolated region in Canada, why is there NASA equipment talking about Mars? There's a NASA logo, another NASA logo. What is going on? This is Devon Island. And as much as some people want you to believe that the government doesn't want you to know about this, it is actually pretty prominent on NASA's website. Devon Island is the largest uninhabited island on Earth, mostly because it's dry, it's isolated, it's freezing, and it's hard to live on. Like Mars. It also has this giant 23-kilometer impact crater that formed over 30 million years ago, which reminds me of Mars. This is the only terrestrial impact crater on Earth that's located in a polar desert. It's perfect. Here's Devon Island, here's Mars. Scientists use this part of the island to train people and technology for Mars. It's called the Houghton Mars Project. It's incredibly cool. It's also incredibly public and easy to find information on. But the next time you see people changing the colors of images and vaguely claiming they're both from NASA, think twice.
So that location is definitely not a secret. NASA's like, hey, look, this is what we're doing right here. So you know, we're practicing for Mars stuff. But then again, it makes you kind of wonder a little bit, right? Just a little bit, only a tiny bit, because I believe we've been out there. I am totally 100% we're in space. We're doing crap in space. We've got stuff on Mars. We got things on the moon. We've been there. We're doing it. But just a little tiny bit goes, huh?
It should have some kind of disclaimer like, warning, may come with these side effects. Ever since owning chickens, it feels like any kind of conspiracy theory I hear, I'm like, well, that could be true. It almost makes me want to believe every single one I hear. And I don't know why that is. And that's why chickens need to come with this kind of disclaimer before you go and buy them. Like, ever since owning chickens, I don't want to buy any food that's really in the grocery store. I'd rather home make our own bread instead of buy it from the store. I'd rather start a garden and grow our own food than to shop for anything inside the grocery store, because I just don't believe it to be that good for you. The amount of news now that I intake is basically zero now. And anything that I do see from the news, I don't trust it at all. I mean, I don't know if it's something that's in these eggs that's changed my mind about a lot of stuff, but ever since having these chickens, I'm telling you, I feel like I've become more of an introvert. Like, I don't really want to talk with people. I'd rather be out here talking with animals than I would talk with other people. Having chickens, though, it is like having a bunch of mini therapists around. Coming out, collecting the eggs, or coming out and feeding them is just such a relaxing feeling to be outside here with them, and it will improve your mood. That being said, though, if you go to buy chickens, be careful, because you may have these side effects.
Can any new chicken owners attest to this? Because I've wanted chickens for so long, and I'm afraid that if I do get chickens, I'm going to be even more of an introvert than I've become. I mean, I was an extrovert all my life up until like life happened, and then I just became like this hermit, like hide everything away from everybody, protect my family, protect my brain, and then I'm starting to come out a little bit, and I'm afraid that if I get chickens, I'm gonna revert back into that little bubble. Because I like talking to people. I like talking to you guys. Thank you for joining me today. I appreciate you hanging out with me. Come on back tomorrow, because we're going to watch some new stuff. I'll say different things, and it's going to be fantastic. Until then, have a wonderful day.